When dealing with powerful criminal elements, one can never be too well prepared.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if it's your first time. This is a monthly wrap-up. It's a wrap-up of April 2024. So April was a really cool month for me creatively, as well as I got some good reading in as well. And I realised something that is going to change massively in the next month, which there'll be a little bit of a focus on short stories in the coming weeks on the channel. And yeah, I think it's definitely going to affect what I'm putting on Goodreads, because I'm just going to be saying that I've started a book and then it'll sit there for ages if I haven't finished all of the stories in the book. You know, it's a bit like that. So with Horror Mayhem, and then after Horror Mayhem, you've got Rocket Summer, which is an event on science fiction short stories. I'm probably going to have reams of stuff on Goodreads that I haven't finished. But it's all good, because I want to champion short stories. I've done a couple of videos recently about short stories, and they're awesome. So I'm going to talk about what I've put on the channel as far as videos go the last month. I'm going to talk about my reading, and I'm also going to talk about my writing as well. So apologies for that if you're not into that sort of thing, but I'm going to talk about that as well. So to start off with, the month started pretty much with a video about ADHD and the fact that I'm going to look into whether or not I've got it. I can only phone to see a doctor after 1:30 on a Thursday, and I work on Thursdays. Actually, Thursday's my well busy day. But anyway, that's 3 weeks ago, and I haven't phoned them back after they told me when I had to phone them, and that is really typical. So yeah, I don't know how long this process is going to take, but yeah, I did a video about why I feel like it would be good to investigate it, and why I seem to have all of the symptoms, and why my students insist that I've got ADHD. So that's the first video that came up in the month. And then shortly after that, there was an absolutely lovely special version of Is This Thing On, which is my fortnightly show with Dave and Olive, where we both, the three of us, chat and eat biscuits, talk about reading, talk about films as well a lot, and we're going to talk about TV a bit soon as well. And we have guests on, and we had a very, very special guest who wasn't someone we personally knew, and it was someone who had written the Twilight Zone companion and has got heavily involved in the Twilight Zone, being the curator of the DVD box sets and the Blu-ray box sets. He's also written for Star Trek and Sliders and Babylon 5 and just tons of stuff. He's currently working on films now, but he's had a long history in Hollywood. So it was great to have him on the show talking to us about the Twilight Zone and about Ray Bradbury and Harlan Ellison and Damon Knight and Theodore Sturgeon, and just about his experience with the Star Trek writing team. It was just awesome. So if you haven't seen that, definitely recommend you see that. If you're interested in writing in Hollywood in general, or you're interested in Star Trek, or if you're interested in Sliders, he talks a lot about Sliders, then yeah, go check it out, because it's very, very special. So that was early on in the month. Then immediately after that, funnily enough, was the fourth part of my Twilight Zone deep dive. So I'm looking at every single episode of the original series and doing these special videos where I talk about every episode. And the fourth part of that appeared in that week. And then there was a video that's linked to the Historathon. So the Historathon is a booktube event that I'm involved in. I'm co-hosting, and we're at the start of the second quarter. So I did a video about what I would be reading for the second quarter, and basically talked a lot about the Black Death. So the Black Death was mentioned a lot. I'm going to read the folio book. I haven't started it yet, but that's going to be one of the big ones. But anyway, I did the Historathon video, so if you're interested in that, check that out. Big hello to my co-hosts on that one, and Vin, our boss. And then I did one called How Long is a Story? This is one of the ones where I kind of championed short stories and said that it's kind of missing the point to compare short stories to novels because they're different stories. But How Long is a Story appeared after that. And then I did a panic poetry video where I read a poem from Maya Angelou. So that was for PAX. Then I went on about my new bookcase, which is over there. I actually had a look to see if I could film it there, and it doesn't work. I need an iPad stand to make it look proper. But that's filled up a lot already. But I quite enjoyed filling up the case and doing a video about it. So there's a new bookcase where I kind of talked about what I put there. And then I put up an announcement video for a new project, Vote for the King, where I'm asking you guys to help me choose the Stephen King books that I read. So I've got a load of Stephen King books I haven't read, and I'm putting up 3 options, and then hopefully some people will vote for which ones I should read. And the first one of those is coming up very, very soon. But I did the announcement video for that. And then I did my announcement video for my involvement as a co-host in Horror Mayhem. Very much looking forward to Horror Mayhem. And I've even got this chart where and if I fancy doing it as a different bingo card, then you got the bingo card here as a Horror Mayhem, and you got 36 prompts. It's going to be awesome. So I did my announcement about that, and I hope you guys are going to get involved in that. It's going to be really, really fun. So that was the Horror Mayhem announcement. And then I did a vlog of the family trip to Italy. So there's a little bit of bookish things in there, but ultimately it's about Italy. It's about the Colosseum and the museum and stuff like that, and about family. And then I did a video which seems to have really taken off, which is lovely, which is a video about Harry Harrison. So I don't think people really talk about Harry Harrison, and I wanted to talk about him because he's a very important author for me. And I did a video about him in relation to the books I have. So similar way that I did the Ursula K. Le Guin one recently. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was missing from BookTube. So did the one on Harry Harrison. Then I did a thank you video. So thanks again. I did a thank you video for the getting to 1,300 subs. I really appreciate that. And then I did the on off the top of my head book tag, which was fun. And I did the Memento Mori book tag, which was really about death and how I feel about the whole thing and what I think about. And I did touch on quite a lot of personal things in there, and my something I never talk about on the channel was talked about in that video. Might be the only time I ever talk about it, I'm not sure. I do talk about it in the live shows, to be fair. But anyway, yeah, I don't do it on the videos. But I talked about I talked about death and living, making the most out of your life in that book tag. And then to finish off the month, I did the Ursula K. Le Guin video. It was the second one I've done on her, but this was a broader one with talking about more books and about why she's important to me as a writer and why she is literally my number 3. I think she's amazing. So yeah, that was the videos I put up. According to Goodreads, I've read 28 books this year so far. So I'm 8 books ahead of the goal, which was 65 books. So I'd normally put either 70 or 80 books as a goal, but I knew I was going to write a lot this year. So I thought that might affect my reading time. It's not affected too much, but yeah, I mean, the amount of books I've read will probably be affected by the short stories focus. So that might be a thing, but we'll see as the year goes on. But very healthy number, I think. I'm still reading a lot. I'm still giving that time upside. The reason why I do the Goodreads thing is I think it's good to make sure that you're giving time to reading, because it's easy to not do that. A day can go by like that. A week can go by like that. So if you are conscious of it, then you might give more time to reading. So yeah. So I'll just go through the books that I've read. So at the beginning of the month, I read Children of Time. Children of Time by P.D. James. So we were going to do a discussion video, but we haven't sorted that out yet, a live show thing, but I don't think we've sorted that out yet. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's part of the End of the World Book Club, but there's only a couple of us that read it. And I was disappointed. I love the film. I absolutely love the film. This is definitely an example, I think, where the film is better than the book. The book is fine, but it's not great. It's just fine. It sustained my interest. The basic premise of the film is in the book, but it's towards the end, or certainly at least halfway through, and it doesn't really do as much with it as I thought it would. There are some elements of looking at how society's been changed by the fact that women can't give birth anymore. That's the idea, that babies aren't born anymore. That's the premise of the book. But I was just so shocked that the film was so much better. And the director of the film, I can't remember his name, but he definitely said that he thought it was a really nice opportunity to explore immigration and the way immigrants are treated in the film, and that's not even touched on this. So that he put his own thing on that. So I don't know what P.D. James would have thought of the film, but yeah, first time I've read anything by her, and didn't sparkle, but yeah, it was all right. It was good. It was good. It was better than all right. It was good. It was good. Okay, then I read Hiromi Kawakami's 10 Lives of Mr. Nishino. So it might be Mr. Nishino. I'm not sure what the pronunciation. I kept saying Nishino, and then I noticed a few people on BookTube after I'd read it. I was thought, oh, what do other people think of this? And they kept saying Nishino. So I apologise if I've pronounced it wrong. But this is one of many books I've read by her. I've talked about her on the channel before, and this was kind of a mixture between odd, as in some things would be in the text and you go, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, as well as quite mundane and ordinary and kind of like, I don't know, like ordinary things happening, and Mr. Nishino and his girlfriends reacting to that. You know, it's I thought it was really good, but it's basically, they're almost like short stories, but they're connected because they're different. There are 10 different girlfriends he's had, and all the way through it, he's saying he can't love, and he wishes he could love better or properly. He doesn't feel love like he feels like he should, and they are connected because some of the other girlfriends that are in other stories are mentioned or referred back to, or sometimes they know them. Yeah, it's a really interesting, and you go through his life, so he's there as a boy as well as an old man, yeah, I thought it was really good, and typically quite unusual, which is what Kawakami does. I think she's a really interesting writer. So yeah, I'm glad I read it, and I'm looking forward to reading what I've got next. I've got Dragon Palace, I think it's called. Not sure, but anyway, the latest one, I think that's the last one I have to read, I think. Oh no, I've discovered there's a few other more obscure ones, but out of the ones that I knew about until I've really delved, I'm waffling. Anyway, yes, good stuff. I like that book. Okay, so then I wanted to go back into the Faffhd and Gray Mouser books and continue my reread of this series by Fritz Lieber, and I'm only on the second one, Swords Against Death. And it's funny because I was itching to get to the next book, and then I realised, well, what am I doing? They're short stories. I don't have to finish the book before I get to another one. I can go between. So I've read half the book, and I think it's three or four short stories. Four short stories. Yeah, I've read 4, and it's a bit mixed. Most of them I really like. There was one that I thought wasn't quite as good as the others, but I love the setting. I love the characters. I love how he writes it. He's very good at action scenes. So I don't know if I said that with the other when I talked about the other book. But yeah, I really love going back on it. So this is book 2, and I will continue to do this slowly. But yeah, Faffhd and Gray Mouser. Really, really influential on D&D and the whole idea of fantasy. So once I've reread all of them, I'm going to do a longer video about Faffhd and Gray Mouser. But yeah, that was cool. And then I read If It Bleeds, the short story. So, well, it's not really a short story. It's 200 pages long. So a short novel, a novella. I read this for the All About Holly project, and I really liked it. I really liked it. We did a discussion about it, a live stream, where we talked about how we felt about it. And I actually said it ranked the lowest out of all of them, but I've loved all of the books with Holly in them so far. So it wasn't particularly damning commentary really, because I still really liked it. I just really, really love some of the others. But yeah, it was really good. So kind of a continuation of The Outsider. So if you've read The Outsider, then If It Bleeds carries on with a similar premise, but it's very good. It's different. It's not exactly the same premise, but it's bouncing off The Outsider. So yeah, that was really good. But I haven't read the others in this book yet, so I might look at that next month. I also got a little bit obsessed for a good couple of weeks with Waiting for Godot. So this is because this is part of my day-to-day life at the moment. I'm teaching this, and we're studying it properly in the performing arts lessons I'm teaching, and I needed to reread it again. So I've read it again. I've picked out scenes that they're doing. We've analysed some of the stuff already. We've looked at doing them in different styles, and then obviously we're going to end up doing it in an absurdist style. But if you know the play, it's quite different. It's quite special. It's quite unique. It's very, very influential, and I've really enjoyed getting back to it and rediscovering it, and rediscovering absurdism in general. So yeah, Waiting for Godot is been a big part of my reading. Not necessarily, it's not that big, but I've obviously been reading it in a different way, reading it in an academic way, and reading it with a mind to what am I going to do with these students, that kind of thing. So that was cool. And then the last thing I completed was Holly. So Holly, another Stephen King book. This is the last part of the All About Holly project, the 6th book, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. He's really in good form at the moment, and yeah, it's very cool that this has been written so late, because some people say, oh, I only like the early stuff, but this is so good, and there's lots going on. The pacing is really interesting because he keeps the tension going while ramping it up, so it's like it gets more hectic, but right from the beginning you're gripped, and there's tension there straight away. And the way he plays with time and the two different plots that are going is so good in this one. So yeah, and Holly's fleshed out beautifully. So you find out a lot about Holly in this one. So yeah, awesome, absolutely awesome. And then the other thing, which is just something I've been dipping into at the end of the month, and I'll be probably talking more about this in the May wrap up, and I'll probably dip into this in between the horror stuff, is the book here of selected poems by Samuel Beckett. There's a couple of other things I might start reading as well that are kind of linked to Beckett and theatre and absurdist stuff, but we'll have a look. We'll see. But I've started that, so some really cool poems in there, and it's I got this out of the library thinking that I was going to start writing poetry again, but actually I've been on this big short story kick. So I've written 2.5 short stories this month. I say 2.5 because I haven't finished one of them yet. I'm hoping to finish that during next week. I've also fleshed out some ideas, so I have actually got 9 stories. Story ideas, either completed stories or story ideas in a list that, if I keep going, can be another book. So we'll see. But I've really enjoyed writing them. I think they're different than what I've written before. They're a little bit more ambitious than what I've written before, I'd say. And I've found I think I've discovered some things about writing that I've kind of kept in mind, or I've just sort of used to try and improve the storytelling. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and actually, this is not going to be the case for the whole of these stories, but certainly the first few I've written are pretty much horror stories. They're definitely darker. They are. There some of them are quite uncomfortable, I'd say, and I just wanted to give a shout out actually to Troy Tradup and Ollie Clark from Criminology, because the two of them inspired me to get back into writing prose because of the competition to be in the Garbology anthology. So I do appreciate that, because it made me made me put aside the second Brown Yelp gang novel to go back to short stories for a bit, and it's great because it's really made me feel quite creative, and I really like these ideas that are popping into my head. So yeah, big thank you to them, and yeah, a huge thanks to the people that have been subscribing and watching the videos. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Stay curious.
Picture of what it's like to be